The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched for miles in every direction. Floating platforms carried delegates from 1,000 different species. Light from distant stars poured through crystal walls that were older than most civilizations. This was the heart of the Galactic Concord, where 12,000 worlds came together in peace. Ambassador Keth Varan of the Selenith Empire stood on his platform and tried not to show his excitement. He was young for a diplomat, barely 300 years old. His scales were still bright green, not yet faded to the gray of the elders. This was his first time in the Great Hall, and he wanted to remember everything. The Selenith Empire was rising. In just 2,000 years, his people had conquered 40 worlds. They had the strongest fleet in their sector. They had the best weapons. And now, they had a seat on the Galactic Council. Keith Foran believed this was just the beginning. He studied the massive holographic map that floated in the center of the hall. It showed every known system in the galaxy, billions of stars, millions of inhabited worlds, all connected by trade routes and alliance lines. It was beautiful. But something caught his attention. In one corner of the map, there was a single star marked in deep red. Around it was a circle of empty space, 50 light-years wide. No trade routes entered it. No alliance lines crossed it. It was completely alone. Keth Varan turned to the delegate next to him, a tall, insect-like being from the merchant clans. "What is that red star?" he asked. "Why is it marked differently?" The merchant's antennae went flat against its head. Its compound eyes looked away quickly. "We do not speak of it," the merchant whispered. "Ask the elders if you must know. But I warn you, young Selenith, some questions are better left unasked." This only made Keth Varan more curious. He was not the type to leave questions unanswered. That night, after the council session ended, he requested a private meeting with Elder Thrum Keth, the oldest member of the council. The elder's chamber was dark and cold. Thrum Keth was ancient beyond measure, his body more machine than flesh now. He had lived for 3 million years, since the very beginning of the Galactic Concord. His species, the first ones, had created the council to bring peace to the galaxy. "You wish to know about the red star," the elder said. His voice was like wind through dead leaves. "I saw you looking at it. Young ones always look at it." "Yes, elder," Kethaverin said. "What is it? Why is it forbidden?" The elder was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with something Kethaverin had never heard before. It took him a moment to recognize it. It was fear. "That is Sol," the elder said. "That is where humanity dwells. We do not go there. We do not speak to them. We do not provoke them. This is the oldest law of the council. It has existed for 800,000 years. "Humanity?" Kethaveran repeated. "I have never heard of them. Are they dangerous?" "They are the most dangerous species that has ever existed," the elder replied. "We contacted them once, long ago, when they were still primitive. They had not yet discovered space travel. They fought with weapons made of bronze." "Bronze?" Kethvaran almost laughed. "And you fear them? What could primitives do against the power of the council?" The elder's ancient eyes fixed on him. 3 species of the first ones participated in that first contact. The Varketh, the Omnari, the Crystalline Directive. "Do you know where they are now?" Kethavaran searched his memory. He had studied galactic history. He knew the names of the first ones. But these 3 names meant nothing to him. "I do not know them," he admitted. "No one does," the elder said. "They are extinct. Every single one of them. Their worlds are dust. Their histories are erased. Their names survive only in our most secret records. The humans destroyed them so completely that the galaxy forgot they ever existed." A chill ran down Kethvaran's spine, but his pride would not let him show fear. "That was 800,000 years ago," he said. "Times change. Species change. Perhaps the humans have grown weak in their isolation. Or perhaps they have grown stronger," the elder replied. "We do not know. We do not wish to know. The quarantine exists because we learned a terrible lesson. The humans have a capacity for violence that defies understanding. When they are threatened, they do not simply fight. They do not simply win. They erase their enemies from existence, completely, permanently." The elder leaned forward. "Listen to me, young Selenith. Your empire is rising. You have conquered many worlds. You believe you are powerful, but you are children playing with toys. The humans made the Varketh extinct when they had nothing but primitive weapons and stolen technology. Imagine what they could do now, after 800,000 years of development. Kethavaran bowed politely, but inside he was not convinced. The elder was old. Old beings feared change. Old beings saw danger everywhere. The Selenith were young and strong. They had never lost a war. I thank you for your wisdom, elder, he said. He left the chamber with his mind already racing. The elders were hiding something. There must be something valuable in that forbidden zone. Technology, perhaps. Resources. Something that the elders wanted to keep for themselves. The Selenith Empire had not become powerful by following the rules of old, frightened creatures. Perhaps it was time to see what these humans really were. In his private chambers, Kethvaran began to plan. He would send a scouting mission first, quietly, secretly. The council did not need to know, and when he discovered what the elders were hiding, the Selenith would take it for themselves. Far away in the elders' chamber, Thrumketh watched the young ambassador leave through a viewing screen. He turned to another elder who waited in the shadows. He did not listen, Thrumketh said. They never listen. Should we stop him? No, we learned long ago that we cannot save those who will not be saved. Prepare the memorial stones. The Selenith will learn what we learned, what the Varketh learned, what the Omnari learned. The ancient elder looked out at the stars toward the distant red sun that held humanity. The humans are patient, he whispered. They have waited for 800,000 years, but they never forget a wrong done to them. And they never forgive. The Selenith have already written their own ending. They simply do not know it yet. The stars continued to shine, cold and uncaring. And somewhere in the forbidden zone, on a small blue world called Earth, humanity waited. They had waited for a very long time. They were very good at waiting, but they were even better at war. 2 years had passed since Kethavorn first heard the name humanity. In that time, he had risen from ambassador to admiral. The Selenith Empire had given him command of their greatest fleet. 400 warships, each one capable of destroying a planet. It was the largest military force his people had ever assembled. Now that fleet hung at the edge of the Forbidden Zone, just outside the 50-light-year boundary that the Council had established. Kethvorin stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the distant yellow star called Sol. Admiral, his second-in-command said, "Are you certain about this? The Council's laws are clear. If they discover what we are doing, the Council is ruled by cowards and relics," Kethvorin replied. "They have kept this zone forbidden for 800,000 years. Think about what we might find. Technology from the first ones. Weapons, resources, whatever the humans have, we will take it. And when we return victorious, the Council will have no choice but to accept Selenith leadership." He gave the order. The fleet jumped into hyperspace. They emerged in the outer edges of the Sol system, near a frozen dwarf planet that the humans called Pluto. Kethavaran had expected to find a primitive civilization, perhaps a few ships, perhaps some orbital stations. What he found was something else entirely. The system was quiet, too quiet. There were no great fleets waiting for them, no massive defense platforms. But sensors detected something strange. Energy signatures everywhere, hidden, dormant, like a sleeping giant. Kethvoran ignored the warnings. He ordered his communications officer to broadcast a standard subjugation message. It was the same message the Selenith sent to every world they conquered. "Inhabitants of this system," the message declared, "you are now under the protection of the Selenith Empire. You will surrender all weapons. You will accept Selenith authority. You will provide tribute as required. Resistance is not advised. Compliance will be rewarded. Defiance will be punished." For several minutes, there was no response. Kethvorin smiled. Perhaps the humans were too frightened to answer. Perhaps they were already preparing to surrender. Then a face appeared on the communication screen. It was a human female. She had dark hair and calm eyes. She wore a simple gray uniform with no decorations. She did not look frightened. She did not look angry. She looked patient, like someone who had expected this moment for a very long time. "I am Director Elena Vasquez of the Terran External Affairs Division," she said. Her voice was quiet and steady. "We have received your message. Then you understand your situation, Kethvorin replied. You will surrender immediately. No, the human said. We will not, but I have a message for you in return. She paused and something in her eyes changed. It was subtle, but Kethavoran felt a chill run through him. We remember the Varketh, Elena Vasquez said. We remember what they did to us. We remember what we did to them. You have 24 hours to leave our space. This is your only warning. There will not be another. Kethavoran laughed. It was a forced laugh, meant to show his officers that he was not afraid. But something in the human's voice disturbed him. You dare threaten the Selenith Empire, he said. You do not understand your situation. Let me show you. He turned to his weapons officer. Target the orbital station above Pluto. Destroy it. Admiral, there are life signs on that station. Over 800 I know, Kethavoran said. Destroy it. They need to understand that we are serious. The weapons fired. The station exploded in a flash of light. 847 humans died in an instant. On the screen, Director Vasquez did not scream. She did not cry. She did not beg. She simply nodded slowly, as if confirming something she had already known. Very well, she said. You have made your choice. The transmission ended. Kethavoran felt a moment of triumph. He had shown the humans that the Selenith were not afraid. He had demonstrated their power. Now they would surrender. But nothing happened. No surrender message came. No white flags appeared. The human ships remained exactly where they were. Admiral, his sensor officer said, I am detecting strange readings across the system. Energy signatures are activating. Hundreds of them. Thousands. What kind of signatures? Unknown. They do not match anything in our databases. They are old, very old. Across human space, something was waking up. On Mars, ancient facilities that had been sealed for centuries powered up. On Luna, massive doors opened for the first time in 800,000 years. On Earth itself, in a bunker buried 3 miles beneath the highest mountains, lights flickered on in chambers that had been dark since before the Selenith Empire existed. Inside those chambers were the war mines. They were not artificial intelligences. They were not machines. They were humans, or they had been once. Their minds had been uploaded, enhanced, and evolved over countless millennia. They had been created for one purpose only, to ensure that what the Varketh did to humanity would never happen again. The eldest of them was called Sarah Chen. She had been a soldier once, 800,000 years ago, when the Varketh first came. She had fought in the rebellion. She had survived the war. And when it was over, she had chosen to become something more than human, something that would stand guard forever. Now, after sleeping for so long, she opened her eyes. Report, she said. Her voice echoed through systems that spanned the entire solar system. Alien fleet, 400 warships. They have attacked Pluto station. 847 dead. Sarah Chen processed this information in nanoseconds. 847 lives. 847 families who would never see their loved ones again. 847 reasons. How many worlds does this empire control, she asked. 47 inhabited worlds. 200 billion population. Then we will take 847 of their worlds, she said, one for each soul they murdered. Wake the others. Wake the sleeper fleet. Wake the dead hand protocols. She paused and something like a smile crossed what remained of her face. It was not a kind smile. Humanity goes to war, she said. Again. In orbit around Pluto, Admiral Kethavoran watched as his sensors began to scream warnings. Ships were appearing everywhere, not jumping in from hyperspace, just appearing, emerging from hiding places that his instruments had not detected. Thousands of them, then tens of thousands. The human fleet did not look like any warships he had ever seen. They were sleek and dark and moved with a precision that was almost beautiful. They made his 400 ships look like toys. Director Vasquez's face appeared on his screen again. You were warned, she said. The elders warned you. We warned you. 24 hours. You could have left. Instead, you chose murder. Wait, Kethavoran said. The confidence was gone from his voice now. We can negotiate. We can... No, Elena said. You cannot. 800,000 years ago, the Varkith attacked us. We tried to negotiate with them too. They did not listen, so we taught them a lesson that the entire galaxy still remembers. She leaned forward. Now we will teach you the same lesson, and this time, the galaxy will remember forever. The human ships began to move, and Admiral Kethaveron finally understood why the elders had been so afraid. The war lasted 87 days. It was not really a war, it was an education. Across Selenith space, ships began to vanish. Not destroyed in battle, not defeated in combat. They simply disappeared. One moment they were there, the next moment they were gone. No distress signals, no wreckage, no survivors. Admiral Kethvaron retreated from the Sol system with what remained of his fleet. Of his original 400 ships, only 63 survived the first engagement. The human ships had not fought like any enemy he had ever faced. They did not form battle lines. They did not exchange fire. They simply appeared behind his ships, destroyed them, and disappeared again. As he fled, Kethavaran sent desperate messages to the Galactic Council, begging for help. The Council did not respond. They were watching, but they would not interfere. They remembered too well what happened to those who interfered in humanity's wars. But the humans did not let Kethavaran flee. They followed him. Wherever he went, they were already there. His fleet grew smaller with each passing day. His officers began to desert. Some killed themselves rather than wait for the humans to find them. And all across Selenith space, the same story repeated. Colony after colony fell silent. Military bases stopped responding. The great Selenith war machine was being taken apart, piece by piece, with surgical precision. On Earth, Director Elena Vasquez watched the reports come in. She sat in a council chamber with the war minds, their ancient consciousnesses projected as holograms around her. The Selenith Empire will collapse within 60 days, one of the war minds reported. Their military capability is effectively destroyed. Their leadership structure is fragmenting. Casualties, Elena asked. Selenith military dead, approximately 4 million. Civilian casualties, 0. This was the human way of war. It had been developed 800,000 years ago, during the darkest chapter of human history. Elena knew the story. Every human knew it. It was taught to every child as soon as they were old enough to understand. Long ago, before humanity reached the stars, they had been discovered by the Varketh. The Varketh were one of the elder races, ancient and powerful. When they found Earth, they saw humans not as equals, not even as enemies. They saw humans as useful animals, as slaves. For 3,000 years, the Varketh took humans from Earth. They bred them like livestock. They experimented on them. They worked them to death in mines and factories across 200 worlds. Human beings lived and died as property, with no rights, no freedom, no hope. But the Varketh made a mistake. They thought humans were simple creatures. They did not understand that humans were different from any species they had ever encountered. Humans could adapt to anything. Humans could learn anything. And humans could hate with a fury that burned hotter than any star. A human slave named Enkidu changed everything. He had been born in chains, worked in the mines since he could walk, and watched everyone he loved die for the profit of his masters. He should have been broken. Instead, he was planning. For 30 years, Enkidu built a network. He used work songs to pass coded messages. He used trade routes to spread information. He connected human slaves across 200 worlds, all without the Varketh ever suspecting. When the uprising came, it came everywhere at once. On the same day, at the same hour, human slaves on every Varketh world rose up. They had no weapons, so they made weapons from mining tools. They had no ships, so they captured ships. They had no training, so they learned by doing. The Varketh tried to stop them. They deployed their military. They used their superior technology. They even created a biological weapon designed to kill every human in existence. But humans captured that weapon. Human scientists, slaves who had been forced to work in Varketh laboratories, took the weapon apart and rebuilt it. In 3 weeks, they created something new, something that targeted only Varketh biology. The extinction of the Varketh took 11 days. Every single one of them died. Their worlds were not conquered. They were cleansed. Their history was erased. Their monuments were torn down. Their very language was forgotten. When it was over, the surviving humans returned to Earth. They took the Varketh technology with them. They sealed their borders. And they began to prepare for the day when someone else would come to threaten them. The Omnari came first, 50,000 years later. They thought humans had grown weak. They were wrong. The Crystalline Directive came second, 200,000 years after that. They believed they were powerful enough to succeed where others had failed. They were wrong. Each time humanity responded the same way. Total war, complete destruction, no mercy, no negotiation, no surrender accepted. The species that attacked them were erased so completely that the galaxy forgot they had ever existed. Eventually, the remaining elder races understood. They approached humanity not as conquerors, but as diplomats. They begged for peace. Humanity granted it on one condition: leave us alone. Do not enter our space, do not contact us. Pretend we do not exist, and we will do the same. For 800,000 years, the agreement held. The quarantine zone was established. The warning was passed down through countless generations. Never provoke humanity. Now in the council chamber, Sarah Chen's hologram looked at the reports from Selenith space. The Selenith Admiral is trying to reach the Galactic Council, she said. He wants to beg for intervention. The Council will not help him, Elena replied. They know better. Yes, but he does not understand yet. He does not understand why we fight the way we do. Elena nodded. Then perhaps it is time to show him. Send him a message. Tell him we will grant him an audience. Let him come to Earth. Let him see what we are. Let him understand. Is that wise? Another war mind asked. If we show him our true capabilities. It does not matter, Sarah Chen interrupted. After this war, the galaxy will know we still exist. They will know we are still dangerous. The old agreement is broken now. We need to establish a new understanding. She paused, her ancient eyes distant with memories of suffering and revenge. The Selenith need to understand what they awakened, she said. They need to understand why the elders were so afraid. And then they need to carry that understanding back to the rest of the galaxy. Let them become our messengers. Let them teach others what we taught them. And if they do not learn, Elena asked. Sarah Chen smiled, and it was the smile of someone who had seen the extinction of entire species and had not flinched. Then they will join the Varketh, she said, and the Omnari, and the Crystalline Directive. We did not choose to become what we are. We were made into this. By slavers and conquerors and those who saw us as prey, we learned that mercy to aggressors is cruelty to future victims. We learned that the only way to ensure peace is to make war so terrible that no one dares start one. She looked at Elena with eyes that had seen 800,000 years of history. We are not cruel, she said. We are thorough. There is a difference, and the Selenith are about to learn it. The Selenith Empire collapsed in 87 days. What had taken 2,000 years to build was dismantled in less than 3 months. Admiral Keith Voren watched it happen from the bridge of his last remaining ship. He was alone now. His fleet was gone. His crew had abandoned him or been killed. He drifted through space in a broken vessel, waiting for the humans to finish what they had started. But the killing blow never came. Instead, he received a message. It was from director Elena Vasquez. She offered him safe passage to Earth. She said the humans wanted to talk. Kethavorn did not understand. The humans had destroyed everything he had built. They had humiliated him. Why would they want to talk now? It had to be a trap. But what choice did he have? His empire was burning. His people were scattered. If there was any chance to save what remained, he had to take it. He accepted the offer. A human ship came to escort him. It was small and simple, nothing like the terrifying war vessels that had destroyed his fleet. The human pilot was polite, almost friendly. He offered Kethavorn food and water and did not ask questions about the war. The journey to Earth took 3 days. When they arrived, Kethavorn looked out the viewport and saw a small blue world covered in clouds and water. It did not look like the home of monsters. It looked peaceful, beautiful even. He was taken to a facility deep beneath a mountain range. Director Vasquez met him at the entrance. She looked tired, but her eyes were kind. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I know this is difficult." "Difficult?" Kethavran could barely control his voice. You destroyed my empire. You killed millions of my people. And now you thank me for coming? We killed soldiers, Elena replied calmly. We destroyed military targets. We did not touch your civilians. We did not bomb your cities. We did not poison your worlds. We could have. We chose not to. She led him through long corridors carved from solid rock. The Varketh did not make that choice, she continued. When they conquered us, they killed billions. They experimented on our children. They bred us like animals. We remember every single death. We remember every single cruelty. They entered a vast chamber filled with holographic displays. Floating in the center were three massive spheres of light, the war mines. Kethrin felt their attention turn to him. It was like standing in front of three suns. The weight of their intelligence pressed against his mind. This is Sarah Chen, Elena said, gesturing to the largest sphere. She was there when the Varketh came. She led the rebellion that destroyed them. She has been protecting humanity for 800,000 years. The sphere pulsed with light, and a voice filled the chamber. It was ancient and powerful, but there was also something sad in it. Admiral Kethavoran, Sarah Chen said, you came to our space with 400 warships. You demanded our surrender. You killed 847 of our people to demonstrate your power. Do you understand now why that was a mistake? Kethvaran could not speak. His pride was gone. His arrogance was gone. All that remained was the hollow understanding of how badly he had miscalculated. We do not enjoy war, Sarah Chen continued. We do not seek conquest. We do not want to rule the galaxy. All we have ever wanted is to be left alone, to live in peace, to raise our children without fear. Then why? Kethavaran finally found his voice. Why did you become this? Why are you so dangerous? Sarah Chen finished. Because we had no choice. The universe taught us that the weak are destroyed. The Varketh taught us that mercy to enemies is suicide. 3 species attacked us after the Varketh War. We gave each of them chances to retreat. They did not take those chances, so we did what we had to do to survive. The Omnari, Kethavoran whispered. The crystalline directive. The 3rd species. I never heard of them. No one has. We erased them so completely that even their names are forgotten. That is what happens to those who try to destroy us. That is what almost happened to you. Kethvaran fell to his knees. Then why am I still alive? Why did you bring me here instead of killing me? There was a long silence. Then Sarah Chen spoke again, and her voice was different now, softer, more human. Because we are tired, she said. We have spent 800,000 years waiting for the next war. We have watched species rise and fall. We have grown beyond what we once were. And we have learned something that took us far too long to understand. Elena Vasquez stepped forward. The Varketh made us into weapons, she said. For 800,000 years, we defined ourselves by what we could destroy. But weapons are meant to be put down eventually. We want to be more than what our enemies made us. So we offer you a choice, Sarah Chen said. The same choice we were never given. You can be the last example. We can destroy the Selenith so completely that the galaxy forgets you ever existed. Your children will never be born. Your history will be erased. You will become another lesson in why you should never provoke humanity. Kethavoran trembled. Or, Sarah Chen continued, you can become something new. We will not destroy your people. We will not erase your history. Instead, you will change. Your military is already gone. Your empire is already broken. But your people can survive. They can rebuild. They can become something better than conquerors. Why? Kethvaran asked. Why would you show us mercy? After everything we did? Because someone has to break the cycle, Elena said. Someone has to choose differently. The Varketh never gave us that chance. The Omnari never gave us that chance. But we can give it to you. We can prove that we are more than the monsters they made us. Kethvaran looked up at the spheres of light that held the ancient minds of humanity's protectors. He looked at Director Vasquez, who had watched her people die and still offered peace. What do you want from me? He asked. We want you to remember, Sarah Chen said. We want you to go back to the galaxy and tell them what you learned here. Tell them about the Varketh. Tell them about the Omnari. Tell them about what we are and what we can do. and tell them that we choose to be something better. Tell them that the warning still stands. Never provoke humanity. But also tell them this: if they leave us in peace, we will leave them in peace. The galaxy does not need to fear us. It only needs to respect us. Kethovoran bowed his head. Tears fell from his ancient eyes. I will tell them, he said. I will make them understand. Then go, Elena said. Go and be our messenger. Teach the galaxy what we taught you, and make sure no one else makes the same mistake. She offered him her hand. After a moment, he took it. The elders were right to fear you, he said quietly. Yes, Elena replied, but they were also right to leave us alone. Fear can be wisdom. Remember that. She helped him to his feet, and for the first time in 87 days, Kethovoran felt something other than despair. He felt hope, not for himself. His career was over. His honor was gone. But for his people, for the future. The humans were giving them a chance. The same chance no one had ever given humanity. He would not waste it. 1 year had passed since the end of the Selenith War. The galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. For 800,000 years, humanity had been a ghost story, a warning, a shadow at the edge of known space. Now they were real again, and everything had changed. Kethovoran traveled from world to world, system to system. He was no longer an admiral. He no longer commanded fleets or conquered planets. He was something new now, something he had never expected to become. He was a messenger. Everywhere he went, beings gathered to hear his story. They came from every species in the galactic concord. They wanted to know about the humans. They wanted to know if the old stories were true. They wanted to know if they should be afraid. Kethovoran told them everything. He told them about the Varketh and the 3,000 years of slavery. He told them about Enkidu and the Great Rebellion. He told them about the war minds who had protected humanity for 800,000 years. He told them about Director Vasquez and the choice she had offered him. And then he told them the most important thing of all. The humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, he would say. They have the power to destroy worlds. They have the knowledge to erase entire civilizations. They proved this with the Varketh, the Omnari, and the Crystalline Directive. They proved it again with my own people. His audiences would lean forward, fear in their eyes. But they chose not to destroy us, Kethovoran would continue. They could have erased the Selenith from history. Instead, they let us live. They let us rebuild. They gave us something no one ever gave them, a second chance. He would pause, letting the words sink in. The elders warned us never to provoke humanity. That warning still stands. But there is a new warning now, and it is just as important. Humanity is not our enemy. They never wanted to be our enemy. All they ever wanted was to be left in peace. If we respect that, if we give them the peace they have earned, they will give us peace in return. The message spread across the galaxy. It traveled through trade routes and diplomatic channels. It was discussed in council chambers and common markets. Slowly, the fear began to change into something else. Not trust exactly, but understanding. On Earth, Elena Vasquez watched the changes happening across the stars. She stood in the same mountain facility where she had offered Kethovoran his choice. The war minds floated beside her, their vast intelligences processing information from 1,000 different sources. It is working, she said quietly. The galaxy is changing. Yes, Sarah Chen replied, but change is slow. There will be others who do not believe, others who think we have grown weak, others who will try to test us. And when they do, we will respond as we always have, proportionally, precisely. We will defend ourselves, but we will also offer them the same choice we offered the Selenith. We will give them chances we were never given. Elena nodded. Do you think we will ever truly have peace? Not just the absence of war, but real peace? A galaxy where humanity is not feared, but accepted. Sarah Chen was quiet for a long moment. Her consciousness stretched back through 800,000 years of history. She remembered the minds of the Varketh. She remembered the screams of the dying. She remembered the day she chose to become something more than human, so that no one would ever hurt her people again. I do not know, she finally said, but I hope so. That is why we made the choice we made with the Selenith. That is why we are trying something different. The Varketh made us into weapons. For so long, that was all we knew how to be. But weapons are meant to be put down eventually. We are trying to learn how to be something else. What if we fail? Then we fail. But at least we tried. At least we proved that we are more than what was done to us. The Varketh wanted to make us into slaves. When we fought back, we became destroyers. But we do not have to be slaves or destroyers. We can choose our own path. That is what makes us human. Far away in the great hall of the Galactic Council, Elder Thrumketh rose to speak. He was even older now, more machine than flesh, but his voice was still strong. The warning remains, he told the assembled delegates. Never provoke humanity. This law has protected the galaxy for 800,000 years. It will continue to protect us. He paused, looking out at the thousands of faces watching him. But the warning is not the only truth anymore. The humans have shown us something new. They have shown us that even the most wounded species can choose healing over revenge. They have shown us that power does not have to mean destruction. They have shown us that the cycle of violence can be broken. He gestured to a figure standing at the edge of the chamber. It was Keth Voren, invited to address the council for the first time since the war. The Selenith attacked humanity, Thrumketh said. By all the laws of history, they should not exist anymore. But they do, because the humans chose mercy, because they chose to be more than what their enemies made them. Keth Voren stepped forward. He was different now, older, wiser, marked by suffering and redemption. I was arrogant, he said to the council. I thought I understood power. I thought the elders were cowards. I thought humanity was just another enemy to conquer. I was wrong. I was so wrong. He looked around the chamber. The humans taught me something. They taught me that true strength is not the ability to destroy. It is the ability to choose not to destroy. It is the wisdom to know when mercy serves better than vengeance. I will spend the rest of my life teaching this lesson. I will make sure no one else makes the same mistake I made. Back on Earth, Elena Vasquez walked through the archives beneath the mountains. She passed chambers filled with weapons that could crack planets open. She passed laboratories where scientists studied technologies from civilizations that no longer existed. She passed the stasis chambers where billions of human soldiers slept, ready to wake if they were ever needed again. She hoped they would never be needed. At the deepest level, she found Sarah Chen's primary consciousness core. The ancient war mind was waiting for her. It has been 800,000 years, Elena said. You have protected us all this time. You have watched over us while we grew and changed. Do you ever regret it? Do you ever wish you had remained human? Sarah Chen's response was slow and thoughtful. I was human once, she said. I had a family. I had dreams. The Varketh took all of that from me. When I chose to become this, I thought I was giving up my humanity. But I was wrong. Being human is not about having a body made of flesh. It is about choices. It is about love. It is about hoping for something better, even when everything seems hopeless. Light pulsed through her consciousness core. I am still human, she said. I have been human for 800,000 years. I will be human for as long as I exist, and I will keep protecting my people. Not because I am programmed to, because I choose to, because that is what humans do. Elena smiled. Then I think there is hope for us after all. There is always hope, Sarah Chen replied. The Varketh tried to take that from us. They failed. Every enemy who has come after them has failed, because hope is the one thing that cannot be destroyed. As long as one human remains, hope remains. And as long as hope remains, humanity will endure. Outside, the stars shone down on a galaxy that was slowly, carefully learning to change. The warning still echoed through the ages. Never provoke humanity. But now there was something else beside the warning. A possibility, a chance. The world had changed forever. Not through fire and destruction, but through a choice. The choice to break the cycle. The choice to be more than what suffering had made them. And in that choice, all the worlds found something they had thought impossible. They found hope.